Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another episode of TEW 2020 WWE here. We're back on the road to the Royal Rumble, the first stop on the road to WrestleMania. And we're kicking things off this week, as always, with another episode of Monday Night Raw, the A show in terms of ratings, really, so far for me, overall, and even this year, it's been banger after banger. Hopefully tonight the same. Monday Night Raw kicking off with the Undisputed Era, having a promo being interrupted by Kevin Owens, as always at this point. Kevin Owens saying that last week he beat Kyle O'Reilly because he knows Adam Cole. He knows Adam Cole can't let sleeping dogs lie. He knows Adam Cole has to get involved. Adam Cole has to get the last laugh in his head. And that's why he wanted that stipulation. That's why he wanted that match with Kyle O'Reilly, because he knew he could beat Kyle O'Reilly easily. He's done it before, of course. But he knew that even if he didn't get the chance to, Adam Cole would do it for him. Kevin Owens congratulating Kyle, wishing him the best of luck on entering number one in the Royal Rumble. For Kevin turning his attention back to Adam Cole, and he issues a challenge to Adam Cole. He says, tonight, I will take on whatever one of your little cronies you want me to face. But when I win, I get to decide the stipulation for the Royal Rumble. And if I lose, then you can pick it for a 100. And Adam Cole kind of laughing and saying, you know what, Kevin? Okay. Tonight, if you beat Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, you can pick the stipulation, Kevin. And Kevin Owens saying, you know what? Okay. I'll beat them both for a 100. So then we're kicking things off here. Kevin Owens taking on Bobby Fish, the first of his two matches tonight. Owens versus Fish, and in the end, Owens picks up the win with the stunner onto Fish for the victory for an 83. Good match. 90 Owens, 73 Fish. Happy with this. A really good opener here. Owens getting the victory, meaning that a victory over Roderick Strong later tonight will mean he can pick the stipulation for his WWE title match with Adam Cole come the Royal Rumble. And then we go backstage. Drake Maverick has Kyle O'Reilly in his office, and Maverick tells O'Reilly that he's entering at number one in the Rumble. That's done. That's through with. There's no point arguing about that. The thing we need to focus on now is getting you ready for this, Kyle, because I don't want you embarrassing me. Over the history, we've had such good superstars entering at number one and lasting really long, doing really well. I don't want to be embarrassed by one of my superstars here, Kyle. So I gotta get you ready for this. And so tonight you're gonna have a little warm up match, okay? And Kyle, still not happy about entering number one. Asks who against, and Drake Maverick tells him later on tonight he'll be taking on Bobby Lashley. And Kyle, not very impressed with that. But what are you gonna do later tonight? O'Reilly, Lashley, 70 for that promo. Good promo. And then we stay backstage and we have Johnny Gargano in the locker room, and Tommaso Ciampa walks in. And Ciampa says he didn't need Gargano last week, and Gargano says he knows that. He knows Ciampa would never accept help or never say he needs it, but still, Gargano as his friend was going to give it anyway. And Gargano says he'll be the exact same tonight in their tag match against the Celtic Warriors. Ciampa might not say he needs Gargano's help, but Gargano knows he needs it, and Ciampa kind of laughing to himself and saying that we are teaming tonight, you're right, but I need you to know, Johnny, tonight, it's the Intercontinental Champion Johnny Gargano and the Hardcore Champion Tommaso Ciampa, not DIY. For an 85, Ciampa refusing to be distracted by DIY here. He's telling Gargano it's just two people, not a tag team, just two people working together tonight for that 85. A really good segment again. Before we go to the ring, we have a little hype up from MVP, hyping up the debuts of Dio Maddin, Ezra Judge, and Moose, the newest members of the Hurt Business, for an 87. Really good. Before those three men have a six-man tag debut, all going to showcase their abilities against Gulak, Elias, and Rick Boogs. And in the end, maybe expectedly, it is the Hurt Business picking up the win. Moose pinning Drew Gulak after hitting him with a massive spear, turning him inside out for a 57. Yeah, decent match. I wasn't expecting the best, None of these guys really high on pop, especially the new Hurt Business members, got to build them up. 63 Gulak, 49 Moose, 46 Elias, 41 Boogs, 37 Madden, 19 Judge. Madden and Judge especially needing to be built up quite a bit, I feel. But a good start, I think, nonetheless, for the new members of the Hurt Business here. And then after the match, MVP hyping up the dominant victory of his boys and congratulating them before saying, next up, the CEO of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, is going to show how it's done against Kyle O'Reilly when he puts him in a world of hurt for an 81. And then we do have that match. Bobby Lashley taking on Kyle O'Reilly at 1-on-1, and both men giving it everything. Kyle O'Reilly wanting to show what he can do even against a powerful brute force superstar like Bobby Lashley. In the end though, Bobby Lashley kind of overpowering Kyle O'Reilly as it goes on, when Kyle Lashley getting him in the hurt lock, Kyle trying to fight out of it, accidentally taking down the referee for a moment, which, you know, allows Lashley keeping the hold on, eventually Kyle passing out, Lashley slamming him down when he notices the ref's out, and it doesn't see that Lashley has won. And then the crowd starts going crazy. Lashley doesn't see it before turning around into a black mass from Aleister Black, before Aleister Black lifts up Kyle's arm and places it over Lashley. And Kyle O'Reilly picks up the victory here for an 83. Aleister Black not done with Bobby Lashley yet, very clearly. 86 O'Reilly, 71 Lashley. Happy with this. Another good match. Kyle picking up the victory here. Aleister Black returning after the match. O'Reilly out the ring. The Hurt Business going for Aleister Black here. Madden, Moose, Judge, Dawkins, Lashley back on his feet in the end, as like doing his best to fight them off. He starts to get a bit overwhelmed when out rushes Ricochet and Cedric Alexander for a 70 for the former Hurt Business members, chucked out last week, but making their return here to save Aleister Black from this Hurt Business beatdown for a 74. Good segments involving the Hurt Business tonight, with their new look, their new branding doing well, and it seems that their former members, Cedric and Ricochet, aren't best pleased about being kicked out for that 74. Happy with that post-match segment. Before, next up, we have that earlier mentioned tag team match. It is not DIY, it is just the Intercontinental Champion Johnny Gargano and the Hardcore Champion Tommaso Ciampa taking on the team of the Raw Tag Champs, the Celtic Warriors, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And the match going on, both teams giving it everything. Tommaso Ciampa trying not to get distracted by DIY here. There are moments where it kind of flicks, you know, him and Gargano working together, that old DIY chemistry coming into play, but Ciampa snapping out of it and trying to ignore it as best possible. In the end though, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle's music hit. Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle walking onto the stage, the Celtic Warriors getting a little distracted, and it does allow Gargano to hit Sheamus with a swinging reverse STO and pick up the win for an 82. Another good match here. Ciampa and Gargano getting the win. 93 Gargano, 88 Ciampa, both doing incredible, as well as 79 McIntyre, 65 Sheamus. Really happy with that, as DIY get the win. And then the Celtic Warriors angry in the ring. DIY on the ramp, and the Broserweights on the stage. Drake Maverick coming out, and Drake Maverick announcing next week will be a triple threat tag team match for the Raw tag team titles. The Celtic Warriors defending their gold against the Broserweights and DIY. The crowd going crazy. Ciampa not looking really very happy at being referred to as DIY after his earlier comments, but nonetheless getting that opportunity at the Raw Tag Titles next week for an 85. Great segments here, and that Raw Tag Title match next week, I think, can do really, really well. Before then we go to a little bit of a promo battle via satellite, thank God, to keep these two apart, have it not turn into this massive brawl. Sasha Banks and Bayley saying she's been watching at home, she's been watching what Sasha Banks has been doing, and this isn't Sasha, or she wishes she could say it, but this is Sasha, isn't it? This is what Sasha Banks does. This is what she always does, always will do, because she's a bully, because she's a bad person. And so if Bayley has to step up, if Bayley has to be the one to put down her best friend, then she'll do it. She'll do it for Bayley, she'll do it for the fans, but most importantly, she'll do it for Sasha to try and snap her out of this. And Sasha's saying that Bayley can't beat her. Maybe years ago Bayley could beat her, maybe in NXT Bayley could beat her, but this version of Sasha Banks, the blueprint, the best, the boss, Bayley will never be able to beat. Bayley will never be able to touch. And they can go head to head at the Royal Rumble for that Women's World title, but in the end, when they do go head to head, Sasha Banks will come out on top. And it's just that simple for an 86. Really good promo battle between these two. Hopefully a very good match when the time comes for it come the Royal Rumble, before we have the main event. Kevin Owens taking on Roderick Strong. If Kevin Owens wins, then he will get to decide the stipulation for his WWE Championship, which Adam Cole come the Royal Rumble. And if he loses, Adam Cole gets to choose. Owens and Strong both going at it. A really good match between the two superstars. Kevin Owens on the form of his life so far this year, so no surprise putting on another banger. But in the end, the referee going down a bit, Adam Cole charging down to the ring, obviously not wanting Kevin Owens to get the victory. Adam Cole setting up for a super kick on Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens managing to duck under it. Adam Cole super kicking Roderick Strong by mistake, standing there in shock before Kevin Owens quickly turns him around and hits him with a stunner, laying him out, kicking him out the ring before covering Roderick Strong for the 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens picks up the victory here. 4-90. Really good main event. 91 Owens, 74 Strong. Kevin Owens with 2 really good matches tonight, as he does get the victory following that botched interference from Adam Cole. And Kevin Owens will now get to select the stipulation for his WWE Championship match with Cole come the Royal Rumble. After the match, Kevin Owens taunting Adam Cole as Adam Cole slowly gets to his feet, nursing the wounds from that stunner for an 82. What stipulation will Owens pick? We'll have to wait till next week. Go home show heading into the Royal Rumble to find out. But an 82 for this segment. Really happy again. Really good work from, Adam Cole and Kevin Owens as ever, but Kevin Owens really good tonight. 2 really good matches, a lot of good segments. I'm very happy, as this episode of Raw overall gets a rating of 93. Another really good episode. Raw is on the run of its life right now. Increased our pop in 55 regions. I can have 0 complaints, can I? As we have another really good show. We're on a good streak of really good shows, I think. I think this month NXT week 183, I think. But other than that, it's high 80s and it's usually 90s at the moment. And that's really good. And so hopefully we can keep that going next up with another episode of NXT. And NXT starts with the commentators making their introductions, introducing the fans, welcome back to NXT. But before they can finish, without his music even playing, Timothy Thatcher storms down to the ring and he shouts, Regal, Regal, come on out. He knows Regal's been looking for him. He knows Regal wants him. So he says for Regal to just come and get him. Regal storming out to the ring without his music as well. A quick start to things here. Regal getting in the ring, and he said he warned Thatcher. He said he was this close to firing Thatcher for what he did to NXT TakeOver War Games, let alone last week doing the same thing to the NXT champion Chad Gable, let alone attacking William Regal last week as well. And Thatcher once again says to Regal to do it, to fire him, to say those magic words, and then Thatcher says it'll be his pleasure to get his hands all over Regal once again. And William Regal says he doesn't care. He says that for what Thatcher's done, he needs to be punished. And Regal eventually saying to Thatcher that you're fired. Thatcher laughing before turning and grabbing Regal, locking him in an armbar. Regal trying to fly out of it, but Thatcher holding the armbar in for a 57. Road agents and securities come pouring out to the ring, trying to break up the hold. Eventually the music of NXT champion Chad Gable hitting. Chad Gable making his way down to the ramp to confront Thatcher once more. And Timothy Thatcher seeing this and then looking slightly to the side, seeing one of the road agents ahead of him trying to break it up, Jason Jordan. And Thatcher laughing to himself, releases the armbar on Regal, shoves him into the other road agents before grabbing Jordan and locking him in the armbar as well, dropping to the ground, holding him in that Fujiwara armbar for an 82. And Regal like a hostage negotiator calming down road agent security. Chad Gable storming into the ring as well, but Regal stopping him as Thatcher lays on the floor holding that armbar on Jason Jordan. Regal tells him to release that hold immediately. And Thatcher looks at Gable and he says, "Give me what I want. You know what I want, so just give it to me or I'll break his arm." And Chad Gable looks fired up. He's angry. He's not happy. And he says, "Is that what you want, huh? Is this what you want?" And then Gable saying, "Fine." And saying he'll give Thatcher an NXT title match. And really Regal interrupting, saying that you won't be fired. You'll get your NXT title match, but you have to release that hold right now. And Thatcher laughing, releasing the hold and quickly rolling out the ring before Chad Gable can get to him. Chad Gable running, bouncing off the rope, as if he was going for Thatcher, but Thatcher escaping first before Gable going down to check on his former tag team partner, Jason Jordan, as Timothy Thatcher laughs his way up the ramp. He's got his NXT title match. He hasn't been fired. A 66 for that segment. Really good opening to the show here from this NXT title program. Thatcher has his match for the NXT Gold. Will he come out on top? We will have to wait and see it at the Rumble. A big match announced there. As then we go backstage to an interview with Austin Theory. And Austin Theory says he's fired up. He says he's on a hot streak. He says he knew that moving to NXT was just the start of his career. And he defeated Cesaro. He defeated one half of the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions last week. And he says next up is the Royal Rumble. He says he's on this streak. He's going to take it to the Rumble. And he's going all the way, baby. He's going to win the Royal Rumble. He doesn't care how many people he has to eliminate, how long he has to last. He says Austin Theory's going to WrestleMania for a 67. Good promo, Austin Theory. Very confident of himself heading towards the Royal Rumble. Before next up, we have Indy Hartwell taking on Mickie James. It's been building from Mickie James bringing in on Indy Hartwell as her protege, as the person she's mentoring. James then turning on Indy Hartwell, and now the two going head to head following Indy Hartwell's distraction and interference, costing Mickie James her match last week against Candice LeRae. And in the end, between Hartwell and James, Mickie James using some underhanded tactics, rolling up Indy Hartwell, a handful of tights and her legs on the rope, the ref not seeing, and James picking up the win for the 54 here. Both women getting a 47 rating, both doing really well. This Mickie James coming out on top following those underhanded tactics, and after the match, Mickie James continuing the attack of Indy Hartwell, beating her down, saying that this is what you get for getting in my business. I tried to help you. It's not my fault. You're not good enough. Continuing the attack on Hartwell when Shotzi Blackheart storms out once again to make the save for Indy Hartwell against Mickie James. Shotzi's business with Mickie James clearly also far from over, as Mickie James makes her way out the ring quickly upon seeing Shotzi Blackheart coming, and Shotzi Blackheart making that save for Indy Hartwell for a 56. Another good match, good segment, happy with those. As then we have an interview from Candice LeRae, and Candice LeRae is ready. She says she dealt with Mickie James last week, and tonight, one-on-one, she has the NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez, and she says she's ready. She says she's not number one contender, it's not for the championship, but she's going to give everything she's got to beat Raquel Gonzalez and prove she deserves an NXT Women's Championship match. And she also, congratulates and hypes up the two people she's mentoring, Annie Cooper, formerly of Sky Blue, and Cora Jade says they did amazingly last week, winning the tag team match they were in. Annie Cooper making her debut, getting the pin. Candice says she's so proud of them, and she says that this is just the start for all three of them in their careers. Candice says that she's ready for this opportunity. She says she's been in NXT for so long without that NXT Women's Championship, and she says tonight is the start of her moving towards finally getting her hands on it for a 56. Good segment, happy with that. Next up, one-on-one, the endless battle seemingly between DFG, Destined for Greatness, and the Velveteen Dreams group continues as Anthony Ogogo makes his debut against the Velveteen Dream last week. Velveteen Dream and Scott losing to Reddin and Cassidy after the match. Ogogo going for the knockout punch on Dream, Dream ducking and him taking out Scott instead, but now Ogogo and Dream going one-on-one, and in the end, Velveteen Dream setting up for the Purple Rainmaker on the top rope. Getting a bit distracted by all the commotion at ringside of all the DFG and his group's members. Ogogo getting to his feet though, Dream turning around, and this time Ogogo does get the knockout punch on Dream. Dream dropping off the top rope to the outside, Dexter Lumis catching him, but then just staring right up at Anthony Ogogo, and Dexter Lumis just dropping the Velveteen Dream on the floor before crawling into the ring, Ogogo backing up, Ogogo and Lumis going face to face, you know, arguing, well, Anthony Ogogo arguing with Lumis not saying anything because he's Dexter Lumis, and in the end the two come to brawls, ending in DQ here, Ogogo getting the win with that disqualification following the Lumis attack for a 56. Decent match, wasn't expecting much from Ogogo's debut, he gets the 29, Dream gets a 62, which, decent rating considering how annoyed he was at me saying you're going to lose this match by disqualification, but hey ho. After the match, Ogogo and Lumis just brawling it out before eventually being separated by security. Security having a very busy night of things here so far. A 67 for that post-match. And then things continue with an interview from Andrade and his Legado members Zelina Vega, Humberto Carrillo and Santos Escobar. And Andrade says tonight he finally deals with Cesaro. He says tonight he finally finishes him off once and for all. MSK down. Tonight, Cesaro down. And then if the Mysterios ever decide to come back, they'll be next. Because no one runs this Cruiserweight division except Legado for an 85. Really good segment from Legado here. Doing really well. Before we have that earlier mentioned match between Candice LeRae and the NXT Women's Champion, Raquel Gonzalez. And in the end, following a little bit of a distraction from Gonzalez's upcoming opponent at the Rumble Knox, Candice LeRae gets the win with a roll-up, rolling up the NXT Women's Champion. No handful of ties for her though, as she picks up the win for a 68. Decent match, 60 LeRae, 68 Gonzalez. Happy with this as Candice LeRae picks up the victory over the NXT Women's Champ, and then afterwards Tegan Knox taunting her upcoming opponent, Raquel Gonzalez, not happy about tasting defeat here tonight for an 80. Really good segment. Then we go backstage. Kayla Braxton interviewing the NXT champion Chad Gable about earlier tonight, and Gable asks if he can have the mic, and he takes it, and he looks in the camera and he says, "Fat I hope you're watching this. I'm sure you will be. I'm telling you, you wanted this. You wanted this NXT Championship match at the Rumble. God knows why, but you got it. But this is my decision. This is my match. And I'm telling you right now, Thatcher, it's going to be no holds barred at the Rumble. Because I will do everything in my power to make sure you pay for what you've done. To Randy, to Regal, to Jordan. You want me, now you got me. And I'm going to make sure you regret that decision, Thatcher. Because I promise you, come to Rumble, you're not going to be the one breaking someone's arm. I am." For a 100, Gable storming out. He is ready for Thatcher. He is pissed off. And this match at the Rumble, no holds barred between these two. It's going to be bloody and brutal, you have to imagine. But for now, tonight, it's time for the main event. Andrade versus Cesaro. It's been bubbling and building for weeks, and now the two men going head to head. And in the end, after a beautiful matchup, goes about 20 minutes, the music of MSK hits. Legado not expecting it. Wesley and Nash Carter coming out. No Trey Miguel with them, but Carter and Lee coming out, storming to the ring and brawling out with the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions Santos Escobar and Humberto Carrillo. Andrade getting a bit distracted, and it allows Cesaro to hit him with a neutralizer and pick up the win. Cesaro getting the victory for an 82. Good main event between these two. 95 Andrade, 74 Cesaro. Really happy with this as Andrade is defeated by Cesaro following that MSK interference. Cesaro and MSK going up the ramp and celebrating, whilst Escobar, Carrillo and Zelina Vega get in the ring, and with Andrade, none of them look happy. Andrade is annoyed, he is angry. He thought he dealt with MSK, clearly not though, but you have to think they're back on his list now for a 74. Pretty good show, not reaching the highs of Monday Night Raw, but Monday Night Raw is just that good, isn't it, as NXT gets a 88. I mean, it's a really good overall rating. It's not Raw, but I'm happy with it nonetheless. Chad Gable especially carrying NXT as ever. Really looking forward to that NXT Championship match come the Rumble between him and Thatcher. No holds barred. But for now, we continue to build up to the Royal Rumble with another episode of Smackdown. And Smackdown gets underway with the entrance of Finn Balor. Finn Balor is back. Last week, the Demon made his return, laying out the Bullard brand, but now it is Finn Balor making his way to the ring, and he gets on the mic. The crowd are cheering. And he says he's back on SmackDown for one reason, and one reason only. And that's because he wants Thaddeus. Bullard. He says at Halloween Havoc he would have beat Bullard. He would been Intercontinental Champion. He'd have won the Universal Championship. And instead, he sat in home recovering from an injury inflicted by the Bullard brand. But guess what? All that did was piss him off and awaken something that the Bullard brand are going to regret. He says to Bullard that he's been focused on Lee in recent weeks. Well, let me tell you this. You're not going to have to worry about Lee any longer because I'm the one that's going to take that Universal Championship away from you, Bullard. Because I promise you, I don't care which of your little cronies you want to send after me. I don't care who you want to get involved in our match. When we have our match, and we will have our match for that title. Because you pissed off the wrong demon now. For a 100 Balor, making it very clear he wants Bullard. He wants that Universal Championship. He doesn't care who stands in his way. And there is one man who really does stand in his way for now, because it may be time to bask in his glory as Keith Lee makes his entrance. He interrupts. He makes his way down to the ring. He welcomes Finn Balor back to Friday Night Smackdown, but he informs him that since he's been gone, things have changed around here, because whilst you may have been the top of the food chain prior, Keith Lee is here now. And if anyone's getting a shot at Thaddeus Bullard, if there's anyone taking that Universal Championship away from him, it's me. You say you don't care which members of the Bullard brand stand in your way. Well, guess what, Balor? None of them will, because I took all of them down already. And Finn Balor saying that he's been watching, he's been seeing Keith. Keith's been great. Keith's been amazing. And he says to Keith that it'll be an honor to fight him for the Universal Championship. But in that particular match, it'll be Finn Balor holding the gold. Because he's the man taking the belt off Bullard, not Lee. For another 100, and in the end the two men agree. Later tonight, Finn Balor versus Keith Lee in the main event, a dream match where the winner will get a shot at the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. A huge match. Should be really good. And then, Bullard Balor or Bullard Lee at the Rumble will also be really good, so can't wait to see which way that goes. Before next up, we have a tag team match from last week, where Bronson Reed and Samoa Joe's little stare down was interrupted by Austin and Corbin. Now a tag match, Austin and Corbin taking on Reed and Joe. And to get very WWE trope with you, can they coexist? The answer, maybe quite typically, is no, as Reed tags himself in, goes in the ring, tells Joe to get in the corner. Joe gets pretty pissed off, locks the coquina clutch into Reed instead, and leaves him laying for King Corbin to just slide in the ring and pick up a win for an 82. Really good match. 75 Joe, 77 Reed, 66 Corbin, 60 Austin. Really happy with this, as Corbin and Austin get in the ring following Joe taking out Reed here. And after the match, Joe just looking on at Reed, kind of laughing to himself. Both of these men have been going back and forth, having this little battle these past few weeks. Both of them saying they're going to win the Rumble. And Samoa Joe's got the laugh here in just over a week out from the Rumble for an 86 post-match. Really good once again. Amazing show so far. Before we head backstage to General Manager Paige, No Mercy, knocking on her office door, and Paige informs them that tonight it will be Asuka versus Sonya Deville. And after last week, after the attack, the DQ finish, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want DQ finishes around here. So she says that tonight, Asuka, Sonya Deville will be in a steel cage to make sure there is no interference. Shayna Baszler, Conti, and Deville, not too impressed with that for a 71, but it will be Asuka Deville in the cage later tonight. Before next up, we have the final qualifier for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match at the Rumble. The Usos, LA Knight and Socrates Torres of the Bullard brand, and Xavier Woods and Mustafa Ali. The three teams so far all at ringside, ready to watch to find out the final opponent. The Dirty Dogs make their entrance. They're waiting in the ring to see who their opponents are when the music of the New Day hits, and Big E and Kofi Kingston make their return, first appearance since Armageddon. They make their way down to the ring quickly, but not quick enough, as Woods and Ali, the moment that music hit, both got up from their seat and exited the crowd through the nearest barricade entry. Big E and Kofi sliding into the ring and screaming for Woods and Ali, "Where you running? Where you running to?" So Big E specifically shouting that no way you can run, Woods. When we win this, come the Rumble, ain't no running from me then. A 79 for that. And then in the match, the New Day versus Dirty Dogs in the end, the New Day get the win. Big E pinning James Storm with the midnight hour for an 85. Big E, incredible. 89 from Big E here. 78 Kingston, 76 Rude, 56 Storm. Really happy with this. The New Day, Big E and Kofi Kingston will be the final team in the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match at the Royal Rumble. And they will be able to get their hands on Xavier Woods for the first time since he betrayed them and cost Big E the Universal title match, broke up the New Day fully at Armageddon. Yeah, it's going to be heated. You just know it is. Then we have an interview with Thaddeus Bullard and Paul Heyman about the main event tonight, Finn Balor and Keith Lee. And Paul Heyman grabs the mic and he's going to say something, and Bullard stops him and takes the mic from him. And Bullard says very plainly and very clearly, Finn Balor, Keith Lee, I don't care. It doesn't matter. They both think they're top dogs, but they're not. I'm the top dog around here. I'm number one. I'm Universal Champion. I got this belt for a reason, and it wasn't sitting on my ass complaining about being injured. And it wasn't being handed an opportunity, a world title, a month after showing up on here. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this business. I held that Intercontinental title for a whole year before I got my chance at this, and I took my chance. And I ain't giving it up. I'm going to WrestleMania this year. I'm going to WrestleMania next year. I'm going to WrestleMania for the rest of my life with this championship around my waist. So Finn Balor, Keith Lee, I do not give a damn. Because the Universal title will stay with me, will stay with Thaddeus Bullard. Paul Heyman, not speaking, but smiling at that impassioned Bullard speech for a 95. Really good promo there. Tonight, really good. I mean, all of the ratings in this new year, in this build-up to Royal Rumble, have been amazing, which is exactly what you want heading into a massive event like the Rumble, and especially WrestleMania coming up in a matter of months as well. Whilst next up, we have the steel cage match mentioned earlier. Asuka has her match with Shayna Baszler coming up, but for now, she will be taking on Sonya Deville of No Mercy in a steel cage match. And in the end, without any interference, Asuka does manage to pick up the win. 81 Asuka, 66 Sonya, 84 for the match. Another really good match. What a night tonight has been ratings-wise. Asuka picking up the win in the end as Shayna Baszler looks on. Asuka Shayna for that Women's Universal title should be amazing. As then Kayla Braxton runs into Bronson Reed backstage, asks him about earlier tonight, and Reed says that if Joe wants to fight, he can have a fight. And we don't have to wait till the Rumble for it. If Joe wants to go, I'll see him next week for an 87. Amazing promo work by Bronson Reed as well. I didn't expect that to get so highly, but tonight is just on fire, I guess. Bronson Reed issuing the challenge to Samoa Joe for next week, mere days before the Royal Rumble. Will Joe accept? I mean, he's always up for a fight, so most likely. But for now, tonight, it's main event time with the Universal Championship match on the line. Finn Balor taking on Keith Lee. Keith Lee's been on the form of his life in this new year, taking out Bullard brand members left, right and centre, whilst Finn Balor returning from injury, returning for the first time since Halloween Havoc back in October, and he wants a shot at the man who injured him, who put him on the shelf, Thaddeus Bullard. And Keith Lee and Finn Balor both put everything on the line. They both want a Universal title match. They both want this match with Thaddeus Bullard. But in the end, the man who will challenge Thaddeus Bullard for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble is Finn Balor. After an amazing matchup, Keith Lee setting up for the Spirit Bomb on Finn Balor. He lifts him up, but Finn Balor just kind of pushes off Keith's head as well, propels even higher in the air, and then stomps down on Keith Lee, laying him out with kind of a semi-coup de grace before climbing to the top rope and hitting another for the win in just over 23 minutes. Amazing match. 88 rating as well. Beautiful main event between these guys. 87 Balor, 86 Lee. Really, really happy with this, as it will be Thaddeus Bullard versus Finn Balor at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. After the match, Finn Balor helping Keith Lee to his feet, and the two men shake hands to applause. They show respect to each other. They have a great matchup here. Obviously, no hard feelings. It's Finn Balor who comes out on top. Keith Lee, you gotta think, still's gonna have his eyes on that Universal title, whether Bullard or Balor holds it. 83 for that. When the Bullard brand storms into the ring, Cruz, Knight, Grimes, Torres, Bullard at ringside with Heyman watching on. Bullard brand trying to take out Balor and Lee, but Finn Balor and Keith Lee working together, laying them out, taking out Cruz, Knight and such Torres from the ring. Grimes tries to escape, but Keith Lee grabs onto him, lifts him up, and hits a Spirit Bomb laying him out and setting him up for a Finn Balor who climbs to the top rope and hits a coup de grace for an 86. The show ends, Keith Lee and Finn Balor standing tall together. Finn Balor and Thaddeus Bullard, eyes glued on each other, heading into their match at the Rumble now for that 86. And overall, a brilliant episode of SmackDown to end a brilliant week with a 93. Really happy. What a week. These shows have been truly amazing heading to the Rumble. And now we're just 2 episodes away from the Rumble as well. I cannot wait for that, and I hope you can too. If you have enjoyed this week, and I hope you have, and you are looking forward to the Rumble, which should be a really good show, then please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more updates and to see when that Royal Rumble video drops. And thank you for watching.